A Mother's Footsteps. Part 1. The Untitled Journey. When Clara Sanders stepped out of Lincoln, Nebraska, on a cold April morning, no one in town believed she could walk more than 5 miles. A 60-year-old woman, slight and petite, her salt and pepper hair neatly pinned at the nape, carried on her back a pack much larger than herself. Yet inside, it wasn't supplies, but her daughter, 27-year-old Emily, paralyzed from the neck down. The sight made everyone furrow their brows, not in pity, but in sheer disbelief. "What on earth is she doing?" someone whispered in the grocery store. No one knew, and Clara didn't need them to. She simply pressed on. Each step was a heavy breath, a jolt through arthritic knees. On her back, Emily, pale but with bright eyes, tilted her head skyward, silent. She had resisted at first. Now she was too exhausted to stop her mother. Clara was about to undertake an impossible journey, to carry her daughter on foot across America, from Nebraska to California, over 2,000 miles of road. Not for fame, not for a Guinness World Record, but for one silly, simple reason. My daughter once dreamed of seeing the ocean. Part 2. An Old Dream. Emily had once been an energetic child who loved to draw the sea, watch dolphins, and dream of running on the sands of California. On her bedroom wall hung a map of the United States, a red line stretching from Nebraska to the Santa Monica coast. Then at 15, the car she and her father were in crashed in Iowa. Her father died instantly. Emily survived, but lost all movement below her neck. Since then, Clara had been more than a mother. She was nurse, physical therapist, caregiver, bath attendant, bedtime story reader, and midnight comforter. For 12 long years, she never left Nebraska for more than a day. Every invitation was declined. Every dream frozen. Then one winter evening, Clara found that old map while cleaning Emily's room. The red line remained, dust-covered, like promises never kept. Emily smiled at her mother's silent gaze. "Guess it's from another life." Clara said nothing. That night, she did not sleep. 2 weeks later, she quit her job at the rural clinic, sold her old truck, commissioned a custom medical pack, and told Emily, "If you can't walk, I will carry you." Part 3. The First Miles. They began quietly. No cameras, no press, no cheering crowds. On day 1, Clara managed only 4 miles before her legs felt ready to give out. Her knees screamed, her back burned, dust stung her eyes. They camped in a makeshift tent at the forest edge. At 3 degrees Celsius, Clara held Emily close under a thin blanket, trying to keep them both warm. By day 3, Clara nearly collapsed from dehydration. On day 6, she wept quietly as her toes bled inside worn-out shoes. Emily remained silent for days, until one morning, watching her mother bandage bruised feet, she whispered, "Mom, you're crazy, but if I were you, I'd do the same." Clara smiled without speaking. In her eyes shone the fierce determination of a mother who had nothing left to lose. Part 4. A Sudden Spotlight. On the 12th day, under a blistering 32 degrees Celsius sun at the Colorado border, Clara paused by the dusty roadside, rinsing Emily's face and wiping sweat from her own brow. Dust clung to Clara's hair. The Hiking for Hope t-shirt she'd been given yesterday was already streaked with grime. A pickup truck pulled over nearby. A young man in his 20s, camera strapped to his cap, climbed out. "Excuse me, ma'am," he called. "Your story is incredible. May I film a short clip for social media?" Clara hesitated, picturing headlines, skeptics, trolls. But seeing his earnest eyes, she nodded. "Be honest. I don't want fake glory." He filmed 45 seconds. Clara's blistered feet, her sweat-drenched forehead, then Emily's gentle smile of gratitude. By nightfall, the clip had 2 million views. Next morning, Clara awoke to a flood of messages. "Tell me what you need. We'll help. Send me your address. I have new hiking boots. Let me walk with you, free of charge." By evening, dozens of medical students from Denver arrived with packs of supplies, oxygen tanks, and snacks. A retired teacher welcomed them into her home, cooking Clara hot chicken soup and gently brushing Emily's hair. "Even in hardship," she said softly, "hearts still feel compassion." A local TV station, KDVR 31, begged Clara to appear. She refused twice. But Emily, eager to spread hope, convinced her. Before the cameras, Clara crouched to reveal her bandaged heel, then looked into the lens. "I'm not a superhero. I'm a mother. When my daughter couldn't walk, I chose to walk for her." Silence fell. Soft piano music swelled. Emily squeezed her mother's hand, their 2 hearts beating as one. Soon the story rippled across America. Strangers sent letters, donations, promises of physical therapy help. For the first time, Clara felt the power of community, real people driven by love and faith in them. Yet ahead lay Nevada's desert, its scorching heat, treacherous passes, and looming sandstorms. Clara braced herself, knowing she carried not only Emily, but the hopes of thousands watching them. At dawn, she laced her gifted boots, tightened her pack straps. Emily, wrapped in a new blanket, looked up with hopeful eyes. Together, they stepped into the next chapter of their journey, led by unwavering faith and a nation's prayers. Part 5. The Sandstorm and Accident. After leaving Denver's hospitality, they pushed westward into Nevada's desert, where the sun-baked earth met a wind so dry it howled like a beast. Clara squinted against the glare. Emily cocooned beneath her headscarf, bracing for cold nights. The storm's warning. On a gravel-strewn path, dust devils danced. Dark clouds roiled on the horizon. Clara sensed the impending fury. A sandstorm is coming. She knelt, securing Emily's pack straps, bracing for impact. The wind tore at them, sand abrading skin like tiny knives. Clara shielded Emily with her body, knees trembling under violent gusts. Emily's lips quivered. Clara held her close, whispering, "Hold on to me. Don't let go." 2. Aftermath and fear. When the wind finally died, the desert lay silent and devastation. Their tent lay in tatters, supplies scattered beneath dusty dunes. Clara's heart clenched when she saw Emily was gone. Emily?" Her voice cracked. A faint moan answered. Beneath a mesquite scrub several yards away, Emily lay half-buried. Clara dug her out, cradling her daughter's frail form. Emily's face was ashen. Clara's pack straps had torn, tossing Emily forward, her neck jolting violently. Clara's blood ran cold. Gently, she examined Emily's neck. Misaligned vertebrae, a new spinal injury. 3. A desperate march. No cell signal. Oxygen tanks and meds buried under sand. Clara swallowed fear. She bandaged Emily's neck with torn fabric, then hoisted her daughter back onto her shoulders. Each step wrenched pain through Clara's knees. Sand sucked at her boots. Yet she forced herself forward. By dusk, they staggered back to their ruined camp. Clara gathered every medicine packet, brewed sweetened water, and used her headlamp to carefully realign Emily's neck. Emily whimpered, but stayed silent. Clara hugged her tight. "Tonight, I'll keep you warm." They huddled together as wind-whipped night claimed the desert. 4. A call for rescue. In the dead of night, Clara emerged, waving her headlamp in rhythmic SOS. The storm had cleared the sky. Stars glittered like diamonds. "Please, God," Clara prayed, "send help." Minutes later, headlights pierced the darkness. Local medical volunteers, who'd tracked their progress online, recognized the signal. They rushed to rebuild the shelter, strapped Emily onto a stretcher, administered IV pain relief, and prepared a small ambulance. Emily refused transport. She insisted, "I want to keep going as long as you carry me." Moved, the medics agreed to accompany them, offering continuous support. 5. Strength renewed. Though her heels throbbed and back ached, Clara felt an inner fire. She knew beyond the sandstorm lay California's coast. Emily looked up, eyes shining. "Mom, I believe in you." Clara squeezed her hand, closed her eyes, and felt their bond, a mother's love stronger than any pain. She hoisted Emily upright. Together with the volunteer team, they marched onward, undaunted in the heart of the desert. Part 6. Memories of a late husband. The early Nevada dawn glowed golden, dew settling on rippling dunes. At a small desert spring, a precious water source, they paused. Medical volunteers attended to Emily's neck. Clara drifted to a nearby rock, watching the stream. Suddenly, memories of her late husband, John Sanders, surfaced like an old film reel. John had died of lung cancer when Emily was 6. Sweet and sorrowful recollections flooded Clara's heart. 1. Lavender Hill, 1992. She recalled a crisp autumn day when they walked amidst lavender fields on the town's outskirts. John carried little Emily on his shoulders as purple blossoms swayed around them. "All I need is you and her," he whispered to Clara. 2. Hospital night. 3 years later, John lay frail in a hospital bed. Clara held his hand. 9-year-old Emily clutched a teddy bear nearby. John smiled weakly. "Your strength will carry us both." Now, every mile Clara walked honored his final words. 3. A rainy promise. She remembered the stormy evening when the doctor delivered John's terminal diagnosis. As the ambulance door shut, John grasped Clara's hand. "Live for me and our daughter. Never let her lose hope." Clara vowed then her pain would become her power. Back at the spring, Clara whispered skyward, "John, we won't fail." Emily, bandaged and seated, noticed her mother's tears. "Mom, are you crying?" she asked. Clara laughed softly. "Desert winds in my eyes." An elderly nurse from the volunteer team gently offered water. "Feel free to cry. Tears are strength too." Their tears merged with the spring's flow, a natural benediction. Clara inhaled deeply, resolve renewed. Ahead lay a treacherous mountain pass with sheer cliffs and snowy peaks, flashlights charged, oxygen tanks secured. Emily hugged her old teddy, a final gift from her father. Clara rose, brushing sand from her pants. "Your father would be proud, and the ocean awaits." Together, hands clasped, the small procession advanced. Each footstep rang out, a hymn of love and faith. Part 7. The final destination and the dreamed-of shore. At dawn's edge, Sierra Nevada's ridge glowed ruby. After winding curves and nerve-shredding cliffs, sunlight bathed Clara and Emily in warmth. Only the sound of footsteps, labored breaths, and a mother's heartbeat filled the crisp mountain air. 1. The last steps, over the pass. Before them rose the Sierra's summit. Below yawned deep valleys, above towered snow-capped peaks. Clara paused, gently setting Emily momentarily on solid ground to adjust her pack. Her legs quivered, but her gaze remained unwavering. "You okay? I'll take you over this pass," Clara whispered. Emily managed a weak smile, gripping her mother's hand. "I trust you." Volunteers formed two lines, flanking the narrow trail like silent sentinels. Clara hoisted Emily up one last time. Pebbles crunched beneath her boots in steady rhythm. Cold mountain winds whipped Emily's scarf like a banner of triumph. When Clara crossed the final marker, the party halted in awe. Far below, fields stretched green. On the horizon, a sliver of deep blue, the Pacific Ocean. 2. A sacred moment. Clara lowered her pack, carefully set Emily on her feet with help. Under golden light, the ocean gleamed like a massive mirror of hope. Emily's face lit up with joy. A volunteer raised their camera for a slow-motion shot of mother and daughter embracing. Clara's voice trembled. "We made it to the ocean." Emily reached for her mother's cheek, then pointed toward the water. "Look, Mom, the vast sea." Though the waves hadn't reached their toes yet, the breeze carried the salty promise of freedom. Applause erupted along the trail. Tears streaked bright faces. 3. A final message. Clara turned to the small film crew they'd carried, speaking into the microphone. "This isn't just our journey. It's every mother's, every family's, every heart that believes. Nothing is impossible when love and faith guide you." Emily clapped softly, eyes sparkling like the dawn. Clara's words resonated far beyond those mountains. 4. An ending and a new beginning. They descended towards the shore. Clara cradled Emily in her arms. Her steps felt lighter, buoyed by elation. At the sands of Santa Monica Beach, soft grains embraced Clara's bare feet. Emily was placed gently on the sand. The two walked hand in hand along the water's edge. The Pacific lapped at their toes, each wave a benediction. Bending down, Clara scooped a handful of sand, closed her eyes, then pressed it to her heart. "Keep this grain of sand as a promise. No matter what comes next, we've transcended our limits." Emily nodded, tears of joy glistening. "We did a miracle, Mom, didn't we?" Clara smiled through tears, brushing a strand of hair from Emily's face. "Miracles are born from a mother's love." This is one of the best stories from my collection that I will be sharing with you in the coming days. Thank you all for listening. Please leave your thoughts and feelings about the story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep enjoying more stories like this.